Hello, welcome to our channel. Please subscribe for more updates, as we keep you updated with your favorite celebrities. The world knew her as Rihanna, a global music and fashion icon, a beauty mogul, a trailblazing entrepreneur. But to Ronald Fenty, she was simply Robyn, his little girl from Barbados. In the final days of his life, amid the fading glow of island sunsets and whispered memories of a complicated past, father and daughter found their way back to each other in a way that transcended pain, fame, and even time. Ronald Fenty and Rihanna's relationship had long been in the public eye, often strained, sometimes tender, but always layered with the weight of history. As Rihanna herself once shared in interviews, her childhood was marked by the turbulence of her father's battle with addiction and the emotional scars it left on their family. But over the years, as both grew older and life's sharp edges softened, their bond gradually found space for forgiveness. In a 2020 interview during the height of the pandemic, Rihanna revealed she had helped her father recover from COVID-19, even renting a ventilator and sending it to Barbados. "We've had our differences," she said at the time, "but at the end of the day, he's my dad. I love him." That love would become the foundation of their final chapter together. Ronald Fenty had been quietly battling an undisclosed illness for some time. It wasn't until late 2024 that the situation grew critical. Rihanna, then balancing her billion-dollar empire and the joys of early motherhood, received the call no child is ever ready for. Her father's condition was deteriorating quickly. Without hesitation, she boarded a private jet from Los Angeles and returned to her roots, to Barbados, the land where her story began and where another was now coming to a close. Arriving in Bridgetown, Rihanna made her way not to a five-star resort or a gated mansion, but to the modest family home where so many of her childhood memories lived. The street was quiet, save for the murmurs of neighbors who noticed the black SUVs and the familiar hush that follows a moment of gravity. Inside, Ronald lay in a sun-warmed room, its walls filled with old photographs, some faded, some newer. There were pictures of young Robyn as a schoolgirl, wide-eyed and full of promise. Others showed the two of them during better times, arms around each other at award shows, laughing during beach walks, and a few candid shots that only family albums hold. Rihanna entered the room quietly. Her presence was both regal and deeply human, a daughter whose fame evaporated in the presence of her father's frailty. Ronald opened his eyes, weak but lucid. Their eyes met. No words were needed in that first moment, the silence said it all. Over the next few days, Rihanna remained by his side. The house was kept private, with only close family and trusted aides around. Neighbors noticed the Fenty household stayed lit into the late hours, not from chaos, but from conversation, laughter, and the bittersweet cadence of goodbye. Ronald, even in his weakened state, asked about his grandson. Rihanna described his first steps, his laughter, his mischievous smile. She showed him videos and pictures, tears gathering as Ronald smiled softly. They spoke about the past too, the hard parts. Rihanna, known for her strength, allowed herself to be vulnerable. They talked about pain, about absence, about how love sometimes gets buried under the weight of broken promises. But in those final days, there was no room for resentment. Only understanding. "Everything I became," Rihanna reportedly told him, "was because I had to grow up fast. But I never stopped being your daughter." He took her hand and, in a raspy voice, said, "And I never stopped loving you. Even when I didn't know how to show it." On a warm Barbadian morning, as the sea breeze gently swept through the curtains and the island birds sang their daily hymn, Ronald Fenty took his final breath. Rihanna was there, holding his hand, tears streaming down her face as she whispered words only he could hear. A private farewell. A sacred moment between a father and the daughter he helped bring into the world she would one day conquer. In the days that followed, Rihanna remained in Barbados, attending to funeral arrangements, spending quiet time with her family, and walking the beaches of her youth with a solemn expression. The funeral itself was private, attended by close friends and family. But across the world, fans flooded social media with condolences and tributes. "She's lost her father, but she's found peace," one family friend shared anonymously. "And he left knowing he was forgiven, knowing he was loved." Ronald Fenty's life was not perfect, nor was his relationship with his daughter. But it was real, raw, painful, redemptive. And in the end, that is what makes it powerful. For Rihanna, this loss marks a new chapter in her journey. One not defined by fame or fortune, but by reflection, by motherhood, and by the unbreakable bond between parent and child, even when the path between them has been long and uneven. Her final moments with her father weren't about grand gestures or dramatic reconciliations. They were about presence, about holding on just a little longer, about saying everything that needed to be said, before the silence. And in that silence, there is peace. Thanks for watching and see you guys on the next video.